Today we're going to work on section 3.7, which is solving percent problems. We're going to use both proportions and equations in order to solve percent problems. You're going to need to be able to do both ways on the test. The equation way starts out with having the percent of a number is equal to a number. You guys should know that is means equals, of means to multiply, and the percent needs to be changed into a decimal equivalent. Other than that, you can just write the English into the mathematics. When we use a proportion, please notice that you are putting the percent over 100. Don't change where the decimal is on the percent here because you're writing it as a fraction. And then whatever number comes after the of goes in the denominator, and the is number is the only one you have left, goes on top. Sometimes that number comes before is, sometimes after is. I would really look to see where is my of number, where's my percent number, and then the number I have left is my is. What percent of 60 is 9? We're going to do this two ways. We're going to do both the equation and the proportion. What percent of 60 means we're going to multiply by 60 is 9, so equals 9. So we're trying to find x percent 60 equals 9. When we really write this as an equation, we will write it as 60 times x equals 9, and then you will be using your calculator to do some division here. So you're going to divide by 60 on both sides of the equation, and you come up with x is equal to 0.15. That's the decimal equivalent for this problem, so you have to move your decimal point to the right 2 places and add a percent sign, and your answer will be 15%. If you do it as a proportion, when you look at what percent, that means that you are trying to find the percent in the proportion. So I'm going to put x over 100 equals, here is our of 60, so that 60 goes in our denominator, and is 9, our 9 gets to go in the numerator. Now that we have a proportion, we can use cross products. 9 times 100, 900 equals 60x. And when we divide by 60 on both sides, we come up automatically with 15 being what x is equal to, and that means we will have 15% as our final answer. Why don't you try this one? What percent of 20 is 15? Turn off the video for a moment and then come back in. Setting it up as equation, we're doing 20 times x is 15. Divide by 20 on both sides. That gets x equal to 0.75, 75%. Remember to move that decimal point. As a proportion, again, we're setting up x over 100 because we don't know what the percent is. The of number goes in our denominator, and the 15 goes in the numerator. It's the only place left. So you have 1500 equals 20x. When we divide by 20 on both sides, we know that the zeros cancel out, so we really have 150 divided by 2. We're looking at 75% for our final answer. Let's move on to another type of problem. This time we know our percent, but we're looking for the is part. Notice how is comes after what number is, but we have our of 25 and we have our percent. So we're looking for is on this equation. So what number is, there's our equal sign, 12%. We have to write 12% as a decimal. That will become 0.12. Move your decimal point 2 places to the left. Of 85 means that we are multiplying by 85. So 0.12 times 85 on our calculator is equal to, let's see, 85 times 0.12, I get 10.2 for x. No percent sign behind that. 12% of 85 is 10.2. That's like saying you got 10%, or excuse me, 12% on an 85 question test. You got 10.2 questions right. If we set it up as a proportion, that 12% is 12 over 100. Right away, the of 85 goes in our denominator. That leaves us the is that we don't know. Multiply, do your cross products. 100x is equal to 1020. Dividing by 100 is very easy. When you're dividing by 100, you're just moving the decimal point 2 places, so x is still equal to 10.2. You can try this one and then start the video again. What number is 140%? Well, this becomes 1.4 when we move our decimal point over 2 places. Of means multiply, so we have to multiply that by 50. So 50 times 1.4, x is equal to 70. That amount is larger than the of. That's because we have a percentage over 100. 140% is 140 over 100. Again, the of number goes in the denominator. Trying to find is. So I have 100x is equal to 140 times 50, which is 7,000. And we can move that decimal point 2 places and have x is equal to 70. Some nice easy math there. Don't hardly need a calculator. Our third kind of problem is where the of is missing. We know the is, we know the percent. So we have 75 is, so 75 equals. Again, we need to change our percent into its decimal equivalent. Move that decimal point 2 places to the left, times x this time. So we're going to divide by 0.625. And when you take 75 and divide by 0.625, you're going to end up with x equal to 120. This is like saying, I took a test, I got 62.5% of the points. I got 75 points. How many were on the test? There were 120 points on the test. If we set up the proportion, we have the 62.5 over 100. Notice the decimal point stays right there. Of, we don't know what it is, and the 75 is our is. Notice that the 75 is in front of the is, but we have of what number, so we know x is our of in the denominator. So we have 7,500 equals 62.5x. We're going to divide by 62.5 on both sides. Calculator is very handy here, so we find out x is equal to 120. Go ahead and do this problem, stop the video, and then come back in. We have 50 is, change this to its decimal equivalent, 1.25. Of what number is times x? So we have to divide by 1.25 on both sides. When we take 50 divided by 1.25, that leaves us with x equal to 40. Again, our of number this time is less than our is, so it's like you're getting extra credit. You got 125% on a test. Well, there were only 40 questions, but you got 50 of them right. Maybe there were only 40 points, and you got 50 points. That means you got a lot of extra credit on that test. If we're setting up the proportion, 125 over 100 equals the of, we don't know. The 50 goes goes in the numerator. So I have 5,000, 550 times 100 equals 125x. We'll divide by 125, and then we'll have x is equal to 40. You need to be able to do those problems both ways. A survey asked 180 students how much they would tip for a $28 meal. Find the percent of students who would tip the given amount. So we have $4.20 is something that we're looking for. $4.20. How many students tip that amount? Well, 36 students do. So that's 36 students out of 180 is what percent? 36 students out of 180 is what percent? So we can start working this out and have 3,600 equals 180x. We'll divide by 180 on both sides. We can cross out a 0. 360 divided by 18. Well, we know 18 goes into 36 twice, so we're going to get 20% of the students actually tip $4.20. Now, the next one that we are looking at is $5.60. Well, $5.60 is only 8 students, so this time it's 8 out of 180 equals x over 100. So again, we are taking 180 times x equal to 800 this time and dividing by 180 on both sides. 800 divided by 180 is 4 4/9. That is a 4.4 repeating. 4 4/9%. I would want the 4 4/9, not the 4.4 repeating. We don't want repeating decimals. If they would ask us to round it to the nearest tenth, then we could say 4.4%. Okay, but they didn't tell us to round on here, so technically we should have the mixed number answer. All right, good luck on working with your percents on your homework. If you have questions, please make sure and come in and see me. You will need to be able to do both ways on your test. Have a good night.